Welcome to Multi-Oilseed Oil and Fat Companies. Soybean is a high-tech enterprise that focuses on the production, sales, and trade of edible oil. Soybean always adheres to the path of world quality. National brand, an annual production line for deep processing of 100,000 tons of soybeans, and corn germ oil production line, rice bran production line. It is a leading enterprise in the soybean industry cluster in Hulan region. I am Multi-Oilseed Biomass New Materials Co. Limited investment and construction of a 100,000 ton soybean deep processing project. It is constructed, designed and constructed by Hanan Wadai Company. Firstly, the raw materials are transported from the silo to the third floor through an elevator. After measurement, magnetic separation, screening, and stone removal, the cleaned raw materials are lifted to the third floor by a hoist for crushing. Crush the soybeans into a 4-6 cloves. The crushed soybeans enter the softening pot for softening. Adjusting moisture softening through heating. Increase the toughness of beans. After pressing the embryo, pressing the dough bond into about 0.35 millimeters. By disrupting the lipid cell wall of the oil, make the oil leak out. After drying, immerse into the next process. Perform leaching. Before drying, adjust moisture content. There is a corn germ oil production line. The oil press is on the second floor. The puffing machine is on the third floor, which is the rice bran production line. Let's go to the second floor and take a look at the production process. This is the corn germ oil production line. There are 3 oil presses. This is a crude oil filter machine, blade filter. Three oil presses, daily processing of 200 tons of corn germ. This is our central control room. Now we are on the third floor. This is the raw material weighing scale. The raw materials produced are cleaned after being measured. After screening, perform crushing. This is a roller crusher. After crushing, the dough bond is softened. After softening, press the embryo. That's a flatbed dryer. Its function is to regulate water content. This production line is a rice bran production line. That's 2 puffing machines. Can process 200 tons of rice bran. These are all dust removal systems. The puffing machine can process rice bran oil. It can also be processed into puffed soybean meal. Puffing of soybean skin can produce puffed meal. Materials processed from the past. The extractor is called a chain stripping extractor. After the raw materials enter the material box, soak 8 times with mixed oil. Gradually reduce the mix concentration. Finally, soak out the oil on this perform. It's the leaching process. The oil is transported to the evaporator through a conveyor. Before dissolution drying, meet the standard requirements for this soybean meal. The mixed oil passes through this temporary storage tank, sent to the evaporator for evaporation. Perform 3 rounds of evaporation. Mix the oil mixture. Evaporate oil by heating. The concentration process is the crude oil extraction process. Actually, it's the extraction principle. This is the evaporator line. The oil is soaked in a solvent for 2 hours. Soaking and leaching time for 2 hours. Perform 8 soaking cycles. After material embryo leaching, dissolution is carried out in the evaporator to a scraper machine. The top 5 layers of the evaporator are the grates. The lower 2 floors are the drying area. Drying and cooling. The steam soybean meal meets the moisture requirements, usually around 12 water contents. The solvent residue is very low. Achieve feed-grade standards by producing feed-grade products. To achieve food-grade standards by making food-grade products. This is the evaporator. The evaporator process is negative pressure evaporation. The gas coming out of the evaporator enters the evaporator. Gas entering, heat entering and exiting. Perform a steaming. Evaporate the mixed oil preliminarily. This is secondary evaporation for further evaporation. Oil from steamed heated gas evaporator. To gas tower evaporate all the solvent. The oil coming out of the stripping tower is called crude oil. Directly delivered to the refining workshop. Tail gas paraffin absorption system. Materials extracted from pre-pressing. Each ton of material contains 2 kilograms of air. Non-condensable gases must pass through. Exhaust fan emissions absorbed through paraffin. During the process of emitting gases, absorb the oil back. Reduce oil and gas consumption. This is the paraffin absorption system. After the crude oil comes out, this workshop is a refining workshop. Deguming the crude oil. Deguming is the removal of phospholipids from crude oil. After debonding, perform deacidification. Soap removal after deacidification. Take off the soap horn and wash it with water. Dry after washing with water. Meet the 3rd level oil standard. Phospholipid concentration process. It's just soap and oil corners that concentrate phospholipids through drying. This phospholipid can be used for feed. It can also be used as chemical raw materials. The crude oil grade 3 oil is transported to the dissolution tower of this equipment, heating the dissolution tower at 125 C to 130 C for 3 hours. Evaporate all the water and solvent in the crude oil. The oil produced through this device is then cooled down, refined into 3rd grade oil. It's the 3rd grade oil we consume, sent to the finished oil tank. This is the entire process.